Mark this down as a shower thought, but while I was in the shower today, I was wondering what an episode would look like if it was just one of us. So, if we didn't want to cancel the show because we have so many great sponsors and Patreons, but only one of us could make it, what basically a monologue for a show would sound like. And the conclusion I reached is that Spencer would probably do a redux of the Justice League special because he has absolute power.
I was gonna say that.
Colin
you beat me to it.
Would probably do like a reaction audio to whatever the frig anime he's watching that week, but he'd only get like halfway through an episode before he moved on to a different anime while he's reading manga. And then I would probably have I would have to work on it for like 2 weeks beforehand, but I would probably go through every single episode of Firefly and analyze what I like about it.
My word.
I would honestly be down if we do want to do Firefly as an episode.
I've never seen Firefly.
I can find a way to fit that in the list if we do want to do that.
I mean, there's a bunch of comics, but it seemed kind of out of our range that I hadn't really brought it up, and I'm not like a diehard fan.
Year.
I'm just more
we could just do the series because it's one season of like 20 episodes.
Oh, we could fit it in like how we do WandaVision
episodes.
And Mandalorian.
I think. We are literally booked. Quite literally, Marvel has a Disney Plus thing coming out every week with minor exceptions, and that's for the weeks where they have the making of episodes coming out. So we're fucking booked. Too. No.
Okay, good.
So we'll have we'll have a break of like a week after we're done with WandaVision before Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts. And I kind of like the fact that we have something ongoing because it makes sure we have something to talk about.
Yeah, I like that. That's good for us.
Also, Spencer's episode would have kind of these long, awkward office-style silences where he had set up a joke waiting for us to hit the layup, but obviously we wouldn't be there, so.
I would be conveniently looking into the webcam I have set up just so I can look at myself.
Yeah, you would.
Looks into camera.
I would just I think I would open up the podcast with a sip of coffee and rustling through my manga pages up against the microphone. That would be the opening.
It would be like the outtakes at the end of a movie. Welcome to the podcast of
welcome to the PP pot.
Yes.
He suddenly says the name of the show in anime. Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
Welcome to the Dime Comic Bros podcast. We're a little derpy today, so yeah.
News.
Wonder Girl is not going to be moving forward at the CW due to what sounds like a lackluster response to the script, the pilot script from executives. Don't really have any more details on that. It just isn't going to be moving forward.
Oh, well.
Okay.
About it.
Cool.
So I have an article from StarWars.com. Quote, back in 2019, writer Charles Soule created a big pitch document for Marvel's flagship Star Wars series. It outlined his plans for the title, but also included one specific story he was itching to write. Boba Fett clearly doesn't take Han Solo directly to Jabba's palace, Soule tells StarWars.com. Something had to happen in between that intervening time between Empire and Jedi. And I was like, I would like to tell that story, and I would like it to be about Boba Fett and what happens to him. Finally, Soule will get his chance. Following yesterday's mysterious teaser image of Boba Fett, StarWars.com is excited to announce War of the Bounty Hunters, an epic crossover in the merry Marvel tradition that will indeed reveal what Fett experienced on his journey to deliver Solo. Running from May through October, it all kicks off with War of the Bounty Hunters Afra #1 from Soule and artist Steve McNiven on May 5th, and then will spin out into Marvel's entire post-Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back line, including Star Wars, Bounty Hunters, Darth Vader, and Dr. Aphra. The 5-issue War of the Bounty Hunters miniseries from Soule and Luke Ross, which will anchor the story, begins in June. From the sound of it, it wasn't exactly smooth space sailing from Cloud City to Tatooine, end quote.
Okay, I don't get that.
What
What
do
do
you
you mean? What does he mean? Clearly, he doesn't just go straight to Jabba. What in any of those movies does that make it seem like he doesn't clearly just go there?
Because they had the rebels had time to infiltrate Jabba's palace. Lando literally works there. There's a good time gap between those two movies.
Well, I mean, yes, but that doesn't mean he didn't clearly just go there. He could have just gone there and just stayed there for like a long time.
Colin.
Oh wait, he would have recognized Lando.
If there's about a year, I believe it's a year. Don't quote me, between those two movies, whereas Boba Fett is literally taking Han Solo at the end of Empire Strikes Back, and then at the beginning of Return of the Jedi, Lando is already working in Jabba's palace. The droids get delivered, and then Boba Fett shows up. Like he just basically got there. Like he just dropped off Han when the movie opens.
All right.
Because he's still chilling there. Otherwise, he would be off on another mission.
I guess that's
already.
a good excuse.
So Jabba's had him for like
Boba
5 minutes.
That Boba wouldn't have recognized Lando. That's a good excuse.
There's an adventure in the middle there.
I mean, I'm not complaining about the adventure. I just thought the statement was kind of.
It depends on how detail oriented you're looking at the movies. Because if you just watch them back to back, you probably won't notice. But if you look with a sort of time detailed eye, there's a time gap between the two.
Well, I mean, okay, so I get that, but like, look at it from just how a movie is, instead of or how movies are made. They just forgot that he probably would have recognized Lando.
No, he's in disguise.
Yeah, that mask is a really good disguise.
Yes.
It's not.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's got the little gnarly things on it.
I don't know. If Boba Fett is as badass as everyone says he is, I think he would have recognized, but that's just I feel like that's just a minor plot hole.
That's why he also literally just got there. And maybe Lando just managed to avoid him the whole time, but
he was like right there when they were moving.
Yes.
They were definitely in contact.
Yeah.
Like quite a bit.
Basically, this is just Legends Take Two, which kind of pisses me off, but whatever. As long as it's good, give us more Star Wars content.
I'm just cool with it being another crossover because the Marvel Star Wars comic crossovers have actually been pretty good. I think there's been 3 of them so far, and they've all been pretty solid. But Boba Fett stonks.
I like Boba Fett.
Yes. The first
also,
trailer.
This might be hyping his new TV show at the end of the year.
There's probably a plan with that. Maybe not directly, but in the sense of we're going to use the same character a lot this year. Sort of deal. The first trailer for Mortal Kombat was released. It was also a Red Band trailer. So yay, blood.
I totally forgot to watch that.
Bruh.
I almost did. I was at work this morning and was like, oh, crap.
I'd smack you, boy.
It's been a rough week, dude.
All right. Other epic gamer over there. What'd you think?
Dare I say it? It looks good.
Yeah. I was actually pretty impressed. It doesn't look too cornball, but it clearly isn't taking itself too seriously.
Yeah. And it looks crisp. It looks like it's full of action, and the action actually looked good, and it didn't make me cringe when characters said their catchphrases, and the effects were like decent.
Yeah.
So unless this is like a complete fake out, which I wouldn't put past anybody, Cyberpunk. Yeah, I'm actually interested. And when does this come out?
I believe in April. It's in the first half of the year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Great.
Basically what you said. I'm looking forward to it. I'm down for the corniness, but also I'm glad that they're like, it's bloody and shit. But
also, it kind of seemed like it took the tone of the last couple rather than old school Mortal Kombat. Like, it just, I don't know, thematically, I guess.
I get what you mean there, because the past few games, while the stories have been absolutely bonkers, the tone has been grimdark versus the first few games, which it feels like it's the perception of what it felt like to play those games when you were a kid.
Right.
Like the first few games now are complete and utter cornball nonsense. But when you're a kid, you're like, oh, this is so dark and gritty.
Like
And
it's
now
a
it's
black title screen with just the red and the flames. And
it's such edgelord.
yeah.
And I think that's a really good way to put it, actually. So we have an article from CBR.com. Quote, DC announced 2 new digital first series inspired by the 1989 Batman and 1978 Superman movies, respectively. Batman 89 is written by Sam Hamm and illustrated by Joe Quinones. Again, Hispanic name's not my deal.
Quinones.
That's a way to say it as well. While Superman 78 is written by Robert Venditti and illustrated by Wilfred Torres, both titles will debut 6 digital chapters on July 27th, with 6 additional chapters arriving weekly after that. Once all 12 chapters of each story have been released, they will be collected in 6 traditional comics released between August and October, and then as hardcover collected editions in October for Batman 89 and November for Superman 78, end quote. The big thing for me was the fact that Sam Hamm, the writer for the Batman one, is actually the writer of the first 2 screenplays.
Oh.
So yeah, it looks like they're actually trying to, I didn't include all the synopses because it's synopsis like material. It's very vague and stuff, but it looks like they're actually trying to bridge the gap between the 2 really good first movies and the 2 really shitty second movies for both series. I'm kind of down for that.
Yeah, I'm down.
It sucks for you because the first couple words say digital first. So they're going to see how well it sells digitally and then maybe print it. So you're kind of SOL there.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that they're going to put it in print, but you're probably not wrong. Almost every single DC line seems to be going digital first at this point, which is understandable with the publishing stuff going on behind the scenes, but we'll see. I'm not like super interested, but it's certainly something of note.
Yeah.
So Danny Elfman is going to be doing the musical score. I cannot talk today for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He has worked on the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. He did also do some work on Age of Ultron. I don't like this, and I like Danny Elfman, but not Danny Elfman since like the year 2010.
You have very strong views about him.
Yeah, I don't want it to just come off as like a personal vendetta, but he's so like, especially in the terms of like comic book industry stuff, he's really arrogant. And more importantly, Marvel in phase 3 was actually having musical continuity between their movies, and it was looking positive. And now it's like, haha, they're going to be ditching everything that the composer did on the first movie because it's expensive to license that stuff. So this is stupid.
And the Emperor Mouse can't afford music composers.
It's just because they're cheap. It has nothing to do with the actual cost. It's because they're like, well,
I know. That's why that was dripping with sarcasm.
Oh, we can't pay the composer to return. I understand why Sam Raimi would want to work with Danny Elfman again because they have an established relationship.
Yep.
But the Doctor Strange score I thought was actually really bloody good. It was extremely similar to the Star Trek stuff, but that's not a bad thing.
Oh, you Trekkie boy. What's next?
The last bit. We had a new, the first official trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League, which debuted on Valentine's Day.
I'll give you pleasure.
Somebody go first.
Oh, we live in a society
Shut the fuck up.
where honor's no more. Isn't that right, Batman?
Bert, what the fuck? You fucking zoomer.
Oh, we live in a society where
We do,
Joker is probably a figment of his imagination.
What?
It was just a stupid rumor that I saw
Ew.
someone say it. I'm like, I mean,
That's
I
not
could see why you would think that, but he's
if
not.
you're stupid and don't
If you're
pay
stupid
attention
and
to anything.
uncultured, like my buddy Spencer here.
So I don't understand we live in a society memes or references.
Do you want a
Joker.
brief explanation for that?
Sure.
Okay.
We've had 2 Jokers that said this. We live in a society now.
Okay, so like it started off as one of those cringy Facebook dad memes, like, my coffee is stronger than your feelings type of, absolute stupidity. It started off as that, cringy dads and edgy 14-year-olds post a random edgelord quote with a picture of the Joker for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, he's more enlightened than the rest of us stupidity. And we live in a society was a thing, because it's like, we live in a society. That says a lot about society. It was just a stupid thing. It was a big meme in like 2018 and 19.
Yep.
So you're telling me these were basically the Joker memes that came before Minion memes?
No, it was after Minion memes.
Mm-hmm.
But they have been around for a while. It just fades in and out of popularity. But specifically the We Live in a Society thing happened during the hype up to the Joker movie. And unintentionally, I'm pretty sure he did say it in the movie. It was just a line of dialogue that was, included the phrase "we live in a society." And then, because Zack Snyder is a mad lad, in the additional photography for Justice League, where they added in Joker, he says he said it. He said
the thing.
Yeah, so it's half serious and half a lol.
Society.
It's for the lulz.
My point with the Minion memes was that it's just those cringy Facebook Karen memes.
Yes, it's
Joker memes
it's the
are
dad
usually
version
cringy.
of that.
I understand.
So the actual meat and potatoes of the trailer, please, people, tell me thoughts.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like we've gotten too many new things other than just more of yes, and also Darkseid, Jasad. How do you say his name? Desaad, and Granny Goodness.
I would love to be beat up by an old lady with a stick.
Not me. Whenever I think about her, I think about the Justice League cartoons, and that one freaked me out because I'm like, I always thought it was a dude. I always thought it was a dude growing up, and then I found out it was a chick, and I'm like, what is that? Oof. This is what's wrong with our generation, I guess, from watching that.
Society. Jacob, as the last piece of Justice League material you will be watching before the movie comes out, what are your thoughts?
I don't need trailers, I need movies.
Fair.
I need 4 hours of holding my pee.
Did you guys end up actually placing bets on how many times I watched this thing, or is that just me in my own head?
That's kind of you in your own head, but like we make a joke about it, and I think it's going to end up that we might actually make a bet.
I think you guys should.
We talked about it, but nothing serious has happened yet. Should we do that right now on air?
I'm not a gambling man, but if it's about Spencer, I like to gamble.
I mean, it's me and this. It's kind of a sure bet.
Yeah.
So, how do we want to run this?
Okay, so I think it's hard to estimate the number of how many times you would watch the regular version of the movie. I feel like it's going to, like, are we going to measure this in a time span of when it came out to, like, a couple months, or...
I think we should go from the day it releases until when we cover it on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, how long was that?
I think
about a
that's...
month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we're going to have a watch party when Jacob gets back.
Which I just got extended, so that plan is kind of kaput. Or we could watch it on Zoom like you do with your girlfriend.
Make a date of it, yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So I was thinking we could do $1 a bet or $1 a subject and have like how many times he watches it, on HBO, how many times he goes to the theater, how many... have a couple different topics.
I mean, also you have to factor in how often is he going to be sad that month, because if he's sad a lot or every day that month, he's going to be going to the theater every day, because that's what he does when he's sad. He goes to the theater.
Oh, you're so right though.
So
I was thinking an over under would be the easiest way, because at the moment we still don't know if there are any theatrical plans worked out, because it's an HBO Max owned property. So it's they have to negotiate with WB Pictures to put it in theaters. So
if they are going to be theatrical, if they're going to be in the cinema, if they're going to be in the cinnamon roll, I am going to bet twice a week maybe thrice.
So that'd be a total of 8 to 12 times
8 to 12
in
times.
cinemas, if it's available.
Yep. So I'm gonna go with. I think you're gonna go watch it 9 times. 9 times.
On HBO or in theater?
Cinema. HBO. Whoa. Does it have to be a full sit through, or like
Total amount of
okay, a finish. Okay,
yeah, that is a great point.
Because that's what I do. I kind of like if I have like a show or a movie I've seen already, I kind of like just have it there, queued up.
Total amount of times that it registers that I've restarted it.
Okay. Dang. I feel like you have more access to that, so maybe like.
So,
I feel like 12.
Because we have only 2 topics, do you want to raise the stakes? Have it like $5 a topic. So we're only betting $10.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know how gambling works. You were saying numbers and words, and I'm just like, okay, yeah. That's why I'm not a gambling man. I don't understand how it works.
Basically, we have the chance to win our money back and not pay anything. So
nice.
What if I prove both of you wrong? Do I get your money?
No.
Oh, you guys.
No, you definitely don't. So I'm gonna say 9 times cinema. The 12 times HBO Max. But what about the black and white release?
We don't know how that's working out yet.
Okay, so
we know the name of it, and that's about it. We don't know anything else.
So yeah, that's my final answer, Jeff.
all right. I think Spencer will see it in the theaters 5 times. And I think his HBO viewings will total. I think you're freaking close with 12. So I got to go above or below.
Yeah, dude. We probably should have recorded this with just me and you, because now Spencer has the idea in his head. He can make one of us
manipulate this.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll make.
I think both you guys are lowballing this shit. You're assuming I'm not gonna put it on every chance I get just to run the numbers up.
Yes, I know.
I need this to make money, so I will, don't kill myself.
I'm gonna say 15 on HBO.
There you go. That's a better number.
So Colin and I will set some sort of tiebreaker, in which case Spencer will be out of the loop. You heard it here, folks.
I think you guys are such lowballers. You're underestimating my Snyder bot powers.
But it's also 4 hours.
Again, you're assuming I'm not going to, if I'm on my day off, I'll turn it on as soon as I wake up and just let it loop all day.
Okay.
Right. But you'll be busy at work, so you'll only get pieces in there,
But if I make sure it auto loops, I can leave it on while I'm at work.
That doesn't.
But
you have to actively watch it.
You have to actively watch.
I know.
Actively, get the pieces that you didn't see.
And we're completely trusting you to keep freaking count. So
that is a very dangerous idea, but we'll find out. That was the last bit of news. How about we move into WandaVision episode 7, which came out this morning?
Yes.
Apparently Disney Plus derped itself out, so that's cool.
Yes, I saw that in the news. Thankfully, I watched it 3 hours before the sun came up. So
nice.
It was about 2 hours after it released.
I watched it probably an hour ago.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say, actually. It felt like it was kind of bland, actually. I felt like almost like I was watching the episode 1 and 2 again.
You don't like the mockumentary sitcom type?
No. It was entertaining, but it's like, I don't know, nothing new.
So I can piggyback off of that. I was going to say that this wasn't funny, at all. It takes the Office's format and makes it even less funny, and I don't appreciate The Office.
Oh wait, you don't like The Office?
I do not like The Office, but I have only seen a couple episodes.
Oh, okay. So
I've seen the pilot 3 times, and then
that's not a good idea.
Well, where the frig do you start a TV show? The pilot? Sure, that's a great idea. Oh,
Yeah, but then you should-
don't watch the pilot. It's a bad episode.
No. But watching it 3 times.
Yeah, trying to start the
Stop.
freaking show. Like, why do people love this? Let me start it again.
No divorces on air.
It still sucks. Anyway,
Divorce. You and I are married.
What the f? No, we're not.
Yeah, we
this
are.
is a 3-way marriage.
What? It is?
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're Mormons. I have several takes.
I have some.
All right, fine.
So I actually liked the format. I do agree it was less funny. I just liked the fact that it was directly fourth wall breaking from Wanda's perspective. That's a bit different than what we've had. The major twist was I enjoy the fact.
Wow.
I'm
You're
not
jumping
saying-
straight to the major
I'm not
twist.
saying the specifics. I'm just saying the point that
Twist.
the internet speculation has gone so bonkers, and they're honestly just going with like the simplest explanation is kind of nice.
Yeah,
So far, anyway. So far, we
that's
still.
kind of weird coming from you, because
I know,
usually
because
that
it's-
drives you crazy.
It depends. Like it still would have been harder to figure out directly from the beginning without said internet speculation or previous comic knowledge or whatever. But it's not going hyper convoluted 18 layers deep. You guys are never going to figure it out. Like it's speculation building it up so much. I don't know. It reminds me of Backlash to the Last Jedi. Continuing on to the next point.
Well, I was going to
I
say
invoked the name.
it felt like a good payoff. It wasn't a cheap payoff. Like it was
Yes.
just like, you guys are right. Here it is. Now we have the finale.
Yes, but I still think there is another twist or two to come.
Oh, definitely.
But
Wait, do we have
it-
one more episode?
two.
And I want to speculate.
I'm
on-
pretty sure the next episode is going to be mostly flashbacks from said twist character's perspective, just to get an idea what else has been going on. Then the last episode is going to be the actual big bang finale, final twist shenanigans.
So it was in the news today.
Senka.
What's his face? Vision. I forgot his real name.
Yeah, he said that major cameo they've been teasing hasn't been revealed yet.
Right. So who do you guys think that will be? And you're not allowed to say Doctor Strange.
Honestly, I think that's probably what it is.
I know.
But
I mean, I kind of.
I think them saying it's a Luke Skywalker level cameo is that is hyping it up too big. Like there is no MCU, even if it's a Fox character, there is nothing that parallels that. So I think it's raising expectations too high.
Yeah.
What if I have two takes? I'll go with the less likely first. What if it's Professor X?
Are you speaking of the Fox, one of the Fox
I
versions?
have
or
no
are you-
idea.
If it's just a
we
Professor
have
X.
multiverse madness coming. So whatever you right, exactly. So they could cast a freaking third Professor X.
That's the deal with that is I don't understand why you would have it would make more sense to have one of the multiverse versions of him than it would to just have whatever the MCU is going to have as their Professor X, because he doesn't tie into whatever's going on. It would inevitably be a
And then it
multiverse
wouldn't
thing.
be a Luke
and
Skywalker reveal.
My really cynical gut says it's going to be Hugh Jackman as Wolverine for no
I
reason.
don't want that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it
so
won't
sick
be.
of that.
I'm pretty sure it won't be, but there is just part of me that's going, if they do that, I'm going to be pissed. Not because I don't like Hugh Jackman, but just because move on.
Hot take. I don't think he's like the most amazing Wolverine that we could have gotten.
You're just angry it's not you because you're the correct height.
No, I'm not 5'3". Screw you. I'm 5'5". And sometimes on a good day, 5'6".
Wow.
A whole inch.
That actually
Right.
makes all the difference.
Where does that
Wow.
extra inch come
That's
from?
what you said.
So my more likely suspicion is that one comment that Monica Rambeau made about knowing a guy,
Yes.
I wonder if whoever that is is going to be this surprise person. So we
Mr.
all speculate.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
I figured it's going to be a Fantastic Four character because people are talking
That's-
about that after like one of the Avengers movie because they don't have the Avengers Tower and that's supposed to be like Fantastic
Yes.
Four Tower.
That's something I was gonna say was the fact that because the past 2 episodes, we were speculating on like, oh, this whatever term
This
Monica
pee-pee poo-poo
used.
man.
Yeah, whatever term she used, which honestly, my science boy over here has this thing. She implied it was a dude.
Yep.
I'm pretty confident they played the pronoun game there for a minute for suspense. And then we get to the people over the ridge, and it's like, okay, so it's just a character from Captain Marvel. Okay, this is fair. That was a little disappointing, but I feel like there is another character that like actually did design said shuttle ship thingy.
Yep.
So I feel like that was a little annoying because it was a bit underwhelming, but I feel like they delayed that twist for later. So I think you might be onto something.
And also, we have to
Vegetables.
consider at the end of Mandalorian season 2, which was right after freaking press day or whatever it was, they announced with that episode another TV show that nobody freaking knew about. So they might do the same thing here and say, oh, by the way, there's a Fantastic Four series coming out January next year.
That is a good question. I'm
that's good.
curious why they would do that since they already nailed down some details on the Fantastic Four movie coming out in a couple of years. But that's a good idea if for the Disney Plus speculation type cycle of news, if they are going to tease off something that isn't just Spider-Man or Doctor Strange. Do you think they're going to tease anything else out of this? I'm hoping no, but I'm asking the question.
I think so.
I don't know. I lost interest. Sorry.
Typical Colin. So there's a thing going around with the fact that Agatha Harkness usually, like, she's sometimes bad, but she's usually good to an extent. But I think because one of the characters in the comics, one of her kids is whatever, it's like Dr. Scratch or whatever I can't remember his actual name.
Dr. Scratch my balls.
But her rabbit being Senior Scratchy seems to be an allusion to that character. I think the bigger, not bigger twist, but the actual bigger twist isn't that she isn't like being malicious. She's going through whatever motions because she made a deal with the devil to get her son to not be a rabbit, which I know sounds crazy, but it's also magic shit. So I think that might be likely. Like he made a deal with the devil. She's going in to save her kid because we still haven't found out who this missing person is from, the outside world. This missing persons case that Jimmy Woo was talking about. It was never revealed who the that was.
At the beginning of the episode, there was a radio playing that I could not hear. So thank NordVPN for subtitles. But the radio station identifies itself as WNDA, which I thought was a neat little glint of
Wanda.
gold. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't catch that. That's pretty funny, actually.
I didn't notice that.
Nice.
Agatha's house at the end is very beautiful. I was very impressed with just
That's
how
also
nice
that's the house from Bewitched.
Is it really?
It is.
So, Monica Rambeau gets transformed into
Photon.
Spectrum, I think is what somebody said online.
Yeah, we're all on the spectrum.
Yes.
Yes.
She's had a lot of she's had more names than Captain Marvel has over the years. I believe
Dang.
the one that's the most current is Photon. It might be wrong, and it might be the one you said.
All right,
Those are the two most recent ones that have
Whatever.
stuck around for a while.
She's a
She
superhero now.
gets
Superhero
transformed
landing.
into a superhero landing, and her powers change the color of her eyes to blue. So, spoilers, at the end of the episode, when Agatha is using her powers, her eyes turn to purple. So, Colin, Mr. Artman, what happens when you add blue and red?
You make purple.
Yeah. So that is going to make for some
Pretty color.
cool special effects in the last episode, I believe. It'll
Yes.
be purple against purple.
I am honestly very happy that they picked a very distinct color. I mean, Agatha Harkness usually is associated with purple anyway, but it looks visually distinct, but it has the same style. I like it.
Well, I was just saying Wanda and
Yes.
Rambo teaming up against Agatha.
I want magic fight now.
Yes.
Wizard
That's
battle.
very close to what a manga I'm reading
Wizard.
is called. It's called Jujutsu.
Wizard battle now.
Yeah, pretty much. It's called Jujutsu Kaisen, which just means sorcerer fight in English.
Honestly, anime and manga have the stupidest titles, and it's great.
One Punch Man.
The last takeaway I have for this episode would be that post-credit scene that I completely
Yes.
missed and Spencer called out.
Yes, that is a good point. Because it implies in the little bit we see that Agatha was controlling Pietro, but it looks like she didn't make him. She might have summoned him from wherever the fuck he was, but it looks like it looks like for a normie watching, it's supposed to be like, oh my gosh, Monica got caught. But I don't think that's what it is.
Right.
I think he might have just been wandering around the area, and now we're going to have epic team-up time. Yeah, that's an idea.
Goes completely against our speculation last episode where
I like the fact
he
that
was
we
a
get to
bad
flip.
guy.
I like the fact that we get to flip-flop so much. I kind of like it.
We
It's fun.
just throw all the darts at the wall and sometime we'll miss.
And
Or
hopefully we'll be right.
hit.
Yes,
Gotta cover all the bases, my dudes.
my dudes.
Main topic time? I mean,
Is it main topic time?
back on the dart throwing real quick. It's great because we have three of us. So it's like we could all just throw our darts and one of them's going to be right. It's like, yay, Dime Comic Bros podcast was right.
Yeah, that is true, because we usually do go in different corners of speculation.
Different corners.
We have
of the
different
world.
opinions.
As he pushes his glasses up. Main topic time.
So this episode's main topic, I'm way too excited. Give me half a second before I shit myself.
Yeah, I got to pull up my
Yes,
timer.
POJ.
So this episode's main topic is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Clearly the Ultimate Edition, because it's the only actual version of the movie that's supposed to exist.
actual edition.
Batman
Which is a
ass.
2016 film directed by Zachary Edward Snyder.
Oh, yeah.
Written by Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer. Someone go first, please.
Actually, Jacob, you want to go first?
I have one take because
Ooh.
I know you guys will fill up the time, and it is a dank hot take. So here we go.
Drop it on me.
For some reason, my special brain forgets the ending to this movie just like it does Avengers 2 Age of Ultron and Godzilla. Like, I've seen it so many times, I can tell you scene for scene the opening because I've seen it so many freaking times. But you ask me, what is the ending to any of those three movies? And I'm like, I don't know. I might have fallen asleep, but I haven't. I've seen these movies all the way through, but I don't know. There's something that turns off as I'm watching those three movies, and I don't remember a single thing. I watched the ending last night, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, I remember that. And it was the same thing with Godzilla a couple of weeks ago. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't retain.
I find that pretty funny because I remember back when this came out, you had it on disc before I did, which was weird. But you had kept saying, you're like, I keep falling asleep, and because you weren't enjoying it. And I'm like,
No,
are you watching
no.
the theatrical cut? And then
Not-
you're like, yes.
it wasn't because I wasn't enjoying it. It was
Because
because
you
I
were
was
falling asleep.
working weird hours. Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
always working weird
Remember,
hours.
he's older than us, so he's been working longer.
I know that.
I was working an actual labor intensive job, unlike now, and I was
Oh my
working
God.
Self-roast.
long days. So
Yeah. You were tired, and you were also watching the really chopped up version. And I was like,
at
you
like
should
2 a.m.
Yeah, so I was like, you really should just take the real version of the movie, take 3 hours, and just sit down and watch it, and I think you'll enjoy it. And then
Which
you
I
didn't.
did on a Saturday and was like, wow, that is a lot better. And I still didn't remember the ending.
And then I made a Snyder convert. Yeah. Sorry.
I wouldn't go that far.
Close enough.
I positively review
I
his
made a
movies.
Snyder ally.
All right, we can
We can move
say
on.
ally.
We can move on.
I need help.
I am not a cultist though.
No, that's me. I am the cultist, but I have allies on the outside.
Okay,
Colin.
So Colin, what timer should we set for Spencer? Should we do
Aw.
4-minute increments?
Ooh, that's long.
All right, fine, 2.5.
All right, fine, 20. No, I think we should go for 4.
Jeez.
Wait, no,
Well,
you're so right. 2.5.
I want to discuss things, but I do actually have points about it that I think might not exactly come out of left field, but
Well-
I think are things we haven't discussed between ourselves before.
We'll give him 3-minute increments.
All right.
Oh boy.
You have a
Colin-
hard time letting us interject.
I know.
Because you have complete thoughts, which rejects us to have a conversation.
I am a complete thought. That was really bad.
All right, Colin.
I wasn't even going to give you a little. I wasn't even going to give you that. I remember being obsessed with this movie when the trailer came out. I watched the original trailers, I don't know how many times, because I was obsessed with the Batcave. I tried to find every single shot of the Batcave, and I'm making Lego. I made it in like Minecraft
Multiple times.
Yes, and
That was kind of I think it was the first time we hung out. Was
one of the most recent times I actually got everything picture perfect.
He's so smart with his Legos.
No, Minecraft. I don't have enough Legos to do that.
That's fair.
But Minecraft, yeah, I did. This
I'm
movie
wet.
is still one of my favorite DC movies. Honestly, I didn't even hear what you said, but I'm gonna move on. One of my favorite DC movies right now, and probably forever, which is Batman vs Superman, and alongside with Man of Steel, of course. But this scratched all the nice little itches in my brain as a 16-year-old / 17-year-old about
Yes.
Batman. I wanted
Yes.
my gray, big, strong man Batman. I loved the big Batman. I loved the gray suit. I loved how the Batmobile was. Everything about Batman I thought was absolutely perfect. And then I kind of got upset that they didn't have the mansion. He
I
didn't actually
can
have the mansion.
piggyback off of that real quick and say
All
I
right.
do appreciate how they implemented the bat suit from Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
Yes.
With him tapping into the city power grid and whatever. That's in the book, but they give him a different suit that's more powerful for the Superman fight.
That
in
doesn't
the
need to
movie.
tap into other
Heckin'
electricity.
chunker.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that the suit in BVS, the difference between BVS and the Dark Knight Returns is the Dark Knight Returns was kind of like a power suit. Like it gave him super strength, while BVS more of was protection against Superman rather than to actually kill him, where in this one Batman used external forces like the sound barriers and multiple explosions to just catch him off guard. And then also
the book definitely adds to that in that how Batman is approaching the fight. He says this suit definitely isn't going to save me. It's just a distraction. It's just going to help me hold out a little bit longer so that the other thing can happen.
Yeah, I did always love that aspect of the book where it's like, this is a tin can that's just going to keep me from dying for an extra like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Right.
but that also had like added strength and stuff. The BVS didn't at all.
Yeah, I know.
The only time he was able to actually block a punch was when he shot that gas kryptonite. I can't find the right words.
The
right
fart cloud.
now. The fart cloud. When he threw the fart cloud. I loved that addition. I tried making a prop out of that when I was into cosplay and stuff.
Nice.
My ADHD will not allow me.
All right,
Yeah.
Spencer, 3 minutes, go.
So something less movie specific, but this is the Ultimate Edition is technically rated R because there's one shot of Ben Affleck's ass and there's some additional blood which was removed for the theatrical cut. This is honestly what I think of when I think of a good like PG-13.
Mhm.
Like I would not let, obviously I'm not a parent, but I would not let any of my kids under 13 watch this. But it does not really deserve an R rating. it just, there's something about like fitting in that niche where it's not like Avengers PG-13 where you're like 8-year-olds watch this. I understand why you would want to label it something so, you know, parents know, hey, there's a ton of destruction and people fighting and stuff, but like this is like actually made for teenagers and up, and I just really appreciate that fact. The just there's enough blood where it feels like there are actual consequences to things, but it's not insanely gratuitous. But also that guy's brains were definitely splattered on that wall.
Yes, I was just thinking about that.
That's good, but it's not so much where it's like, oh, look at his head crack open, look at his brain fall out. It's not like,
it's not slow-mo. You see his face
but
crush,
like it's
Mortal
very
Kombat.
clearly violent, and it doesn't shy away from it, and that's why there's a lot more.
He stabs
impact.
a dude.
Yeah, he literally stabs a dude.
He takes the knife out of his shoulder and puts it right into his.
I love that moment so much.
I love that Batman. He's so violent. I'm sorry, I'm cutting into your time.
That's fine. That was one of my points. Back to Colin.
Oh man, it's just I just can't stop thinking about Batman. I love how we're in the middle of his arc. He's not new on the streets. He doesn't have a Robin anymore. He's gone through a lot of trauma. It's been 5 years since like his kid died, murdered,
dead boy,
and he's just so far from human. He's like, everything's an emotion. Everything he does, he makes an excuse that he's doing it for Gotham or he's doing it for the greater good or whatever. But in reality, it's just like he has no coping. He has no way of proper living. He's just doing this.
He's quite literally just working out, beating the shit out of people, branding them, doing drugs, drinking a lot of booze, and that's all he's doing.
Yeah.
Back to Spencer.
So I have a complaint.
Whoa.
I know you guys feel like I don't actually have those.
Okay.
But something I've always thought was a bit weird is I don't like the fact that Doomsday has electrical powers.
Me neither.
I understand the internal logic of reviving him and the ship, and that makes sense. And it does make the fight interesting to have like the temporary blackouts and stuff. But it makes the end battle a lot more visually confusing. I still think it's pretty easy to follow, but it adds so many more like particle effects and lightning effects. It's just a lot. And it's not because it's an accurate to the comics that really isn't. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they had removed that, it would have made it a little bit less overwhelming. Even if you kept everything else the same, just don't have him black out a bunch of buildings and just do big EMP blast and then have electricity everywhere. Remove that, and it would have been a lot easier to follow. General audiences wouldn't have been, I don't want to say confused, but just kind of overwhelmed with the amount of like visual information going on.
Well, it's also kind of confusing because they don't explain his powers. He just pops out of the weird orc womb thing and just starts blasting this red cloud everywhere. So it's like, what does that do?
Yeah, that's something where it's like, you can figure it out, but I just think it makes it a bit too much. And then you give more of the, it's not entirely comic accurate people like way too much ammunition to just nitpick over.
Yeah, there's no reason to have that like idea about movies.
It's just a thing. It's not like it ruins it by any means for me. It's just something that I notice as something I would have done differently.
Right.
I'm glad that you're talking about that. That reminded me of things. When I first thought about, or I first saw the movies and we had Doomsday, I thought it was odd. I was like, why don't we have Bizarro? But I mean, like, he is Bizarro and Doomsday in one. It almost not parallels, but it definitely is a homage to Lex Luthor trying to make a Superman turning into Bizarro. But then we have a Doomsday who's going to kill Superman so that we have this one of the greatest arcs in Superman comics, which is the death of Superman.
Stabby stab.
Doomsday.
Big stabby stab.
Yeah. I feel like there's something else about the whole Doomsday fight, like that Superman was the one to kill him when it could have been But I mean, okay, so it could have been a lot of people, but it works because Batman's really far away. Wonder Woman's pretty far away. He's right there.
Yeah, that I've always found that to be, we're not going to do what happened when we talked about Man of Steel and then focus on dissuading the nitpicky things. But I think that there is very solid reasoning for why that would have happened the way it did. because Wonder Woman is occupied with literally holding down Doomsday.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, she's having fun because she gets off of beating the shit out of monsters, I guess, which is
Mhm.
fine. Not to kink shame.
That's her thing.
But like, she's occupied. Batman's not doing that. Like, his reaction time is not going to be fast enough to be able to get up there without dying. If Superman can't do it fast enough, yeah, Batman's not.
I feel
And
as though you have shamed my kink. I love beating the shit out of monsters.
Fair enough.
All right, settle down,
and
Doom Boy.
I think the not entirely symbolic, but like the emotional meaning of doing that is a bit more important than in all of the logistics involved. Like, it is supposed to be a choice between these two options. It's just like when it is in a way a
He's
parallel,
being
because he's
completely
killing
selfless.
Zod again.
Mhm.
Because the first time he had
Yeah,
to kill
dude.
Zod as a choice, even though it's like, well, you could have done this, you could have done that. It's like, it was never going to end any different.
There's
than
no
this.
way that he could like revert Zod and being into his side,
Right.
And thinking,
and it was a choice between the last other Kryptonian that he knew of anyway and humanity. And he's doing the same thing here, where it's like, I can kill this monstrosity. I'm probably gonna die, but I'm gonna make this choice, even though a lot of these people hate me and they don't understand why I'm here and they just want to pin all this crap on me. I am going to rise above all of this garbage, and I'm still going to make this choice for them. So I think it reinforces that by doing I don't want to say, I don't like using parallel. It's too boring of a word, but like it parallels what it was done, but in a different fashion, to re-emphasize that point of even going through all the struggles that he goes through during the movie and going under all this duress and hatred from every direction. He still makes that choice.
Mhm.
I think that's a little bit more important than he could have done the other. It just is like, really? I can understand if you really don't like the movie. Like, if you're not invested in the emotions at all, I could see why you could see it as being like, oh, that doesn't make sense, because you're not thinking about it from the more emotional standpoint.
I actually, one thing I do love about this Snyderverse is that whenever we have movies or comics or whatever, there's like never any backlash against superheroes. Rarely there's backlash about against superheroes about demolition, destroying cities, just like what's the word I'm looking for? Collateral damage.
Yeah.
There's usually never any backlash until like recently, until like our years of living, in comics existing and us existing. There hasn't been really much, and to see that into like actual movie form, I enjoy that, because it gives almost, I hate saying realistic, like realism, because I don't care if there's realism.
Stakes, because you're acknowledging what the stakes are. It gives
weight. There is weight when you throw something and it hits something. Yeah, there's gravity of the situation.
Oh yeah, gravity,
and it just makes for good storytelling.
Yeah. So something I did want to acknowledge, again, something as a negative when I first watched it, I was in the boat that didn't really like the Alexander Luthor Jr. dichotomy. I was like, why don't we have big, bald, angry businessman? Over time, really, 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 really like this version more.
Yes.
And I think it emphasizes the themes a lot stronger than it would have if you had gone with a more stereotypical version. It actually thematically ties in with this like not generational difference, but the stronger emphasis in like the millennial sort of Silicon Valley type folks and generation of the rejection of God because of insert thing here. I think it plays into that a lot more than it would have than just, I want real estate or I want to dominate the city. It ties it in as a personal conflict for Luthor instead of Superman being a roadblock. He is the conflict. And I really, really like that now that I'm a bit older. I have one more thing. Do you have anything else?
Nope, I agree with your statement.
So
you have a minute 20.
Musically speaking, in comparison to Man of Steel, I actually think this movie is better. Not because Man of Steel's musical score isn't amazing, but because it was a collaborative effort between Junkie XL and Hans Zimmer, where they have two similar but still distinct styles. You have Hans doing a lot more of the Superman orchestral stuff, and then you had Junkie XL doing the drums and the bass line, like Batman type stuff, and they collaborated, so it makes very different textures come together as like an actual musical conflict.
Yeah,
and it's so good.
I think that if you have a sequel and you keep having sequels, I think the sequel should be better on almost every level than the last movie.
Yes.
But it doesn't make the last movies worse. It just means that it's just growing and becoming better. And you're being more entertained rather than keeping at baseline.
Yes. Any final thoughts from Jacob?
No.
All right. So that is the end of the main topic. Spencer's going to go change his pants now.
That's all you got? 2 negatives and a positive?
I think I've made my collective excitement pretty clear. I agree with basically everything Colin's saying. I don't want it to just turn into Spencer fanboys, but I don't want it to just be, I'm going to be very serious about this. Like, I do have a couple of negatives, and I have some things that I don't think we talk about a lot in the overall discussion of this movie. So I thought those would be better things to bring up than just, oh my gosh, Ben Affleck's back is so big. Like, yeah, we can talk about the amazing costume design and the really good casting, blah, 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 blah. But like, that's pretty normal stuff.
It just seems weird that you have more negatives than positives. I wasn't expecting that.
I feel like you've talked about your positives quite often already in the podcast. Yeah. And you're trying to keep it at what haven't you talked about. And so it's not that he has more negatives than positive. It's just talking about what he hasn't.
I'm trying to make sure it's a collective conversation instead of it just being like a bit of a rant.
That's very
good.
And
this certainly isn't the last time we've heard about this movie.
No, it'll come up forever.
Next week, he'll come back and it'll be one of his talking points. So I rewatched Batman versus Superman. And this time I found...
it's going to be on like March 16th, right before, Justice League comes out. Then I'll talk about it. So moving on to consumption time. Does anybody want to go first?
I'll go first. Oh, no, Jacob, you go.
Go. No, I went first on the last two, so...
All right, fine.
Boy.
So I haven't really been consuming much, but I went back to an anime that I stopped watching. I always do this. I went back to
too much, but when he does, it's anime.
Yes. I went back to watching One Punch Man, and this show is so funny.
It's really good.
I love it because it's about, the title is One Punch Man. Our main character, that's not our main character, is One Punch Man. He's our main character in centering the universe that the story takes place in. But really, the story is about all the other superheroes around him and what's going on. Because this superhero, One Punch Man, is so overpowered that he can defeat anyone in one punch.
Caillou on steroids.
Yes. And he's used as, like, you know how there's comic relief? He's used as the overpowered relief, like a lot of anime does, which I like. Because they don't use their overpowered relief as a main character, and they don't use it ridiculously. They have weight to what's going on. Where there's a situation going on, characters can't handle it. Some characters die, and then not out of the blue, but like somehow. So I guess out of the blue, he's there and he's destroying this giant alien spaceship and he's killing all these people because he's trying to have fun. He's a hero for fun. And what's also cool about him is that he's trying to make sure that everyone, all the other superheroes' reputations are better than his because he's so overpowered. He could beat every single bad thing that happens on the earth, and it makes there's no purpose for these other heroes. They're second rate. So people keep trying. They try to raise him up and make him seem like a good guy, and then he's just like, I guess they all beat him. They all beat up the supervillain before I got here. So all I had to do is get one punch, and I take the credit. I take all the credit, and he keeps rising in rank because there's rankings and such.
Yeah.
But very good. Love it. You should watch it.
I've already watched it.
You watched One Punch?
Yes.
Dang.
I've mentioned that a couple of times. It's one of the few animes I like completely unironically enjoy with very few caveats.
I bought the first manga.
Nice.
Because I want to see the differences.
Oh, yeah.
If any.
Jacob, what you been doing?
I rewatched a movie from 2008. And that would be, what is Spencer's problem?
I was just counting off how many movies that could be.
Oh, okay.
What the odds were on what it is, I'm guessing internally. Keep going.
What's your guess?
Okay, so major movies of 2008. This is a comic related thing, so it's probably superhero related. So we got
Dark
Iron
Knight.
Man, Dark Knight. What was the other one? You could be talking about the Incredible Hulk, which would be weird, but that could be interesting.
Did they really come out in the same year?
They did.
Dang. Well, I am talking about Iron Man 1.
Oh,
Which is the first one you named.
Do it.
It holds up surprisingly well.
It really does.
I was very surprised.
That's so weird to think about.
Yeah. I wasn't huge on it when it came out, but again, that was before I read any comics. I had no idea about anything. So
I was
now
obsessed with
that
Iron Man as a kid.
now that I know the character that is trying to be portrayed, I understand the humor in the movie and why Iron Man is such an asshole. And I really, really appreciated this movie, seeing it in 2021. Caught myself.
Oh my gosh.
The thing that I didn't remember at all is the terrorists, I think I can call them without getting demonetized, is the 10 Rings group.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
is a huge part of the Shang-Chi movie coming out sometime very soon.
I believe this year.
That's what I think too.
I believe it's the end of this year.
Oh, hey, can I just say one thing? Also in
No.
Denied.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think Ant-Man. Yeah. Okay, so we actually saw there's a guy working for, I think, one of the good guy corporations, and he had a 10 ring tattoo on his neck.
There's been a few of them.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I didn't see that till like 2 days ago. Like, when someone talked about it on TikTok.
Ew.
Shut up.
Jacob,
TikTok
continue.
bad, Reddit good.
Yes.
Also, Jeff Bridges plays his kind of poorly written character really, really frigging well. It was an
Is that the old
amazing
man?
performance.
He chews scenery.
Is that the Ironmonger?
Obadiah Stane. Yes, the
Yes.
Ironmonger.
It's like so bland and mediocre of a villain, but it's played so frigging well.
I was just while you were saying that, when you were talking about it being poorly written, this movie didn't have a finished script. They had a plot outline and some stuff written. Most of the movie was done on set.
Right.
And improvised.
So that's like the only thing is I still don't like the improv in between Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow. Like
It's
it
a bit
just
rough.
annoys me.
Gotta love her.
So as I was trying to say,
Bonk.
Bonk.
when I was sort of getting acting classes, we had an improv scene, and I remember very clearly we had to like call a timeout, and we were taught that it's not just general yelling, whatever comes to mind. It has to be a conversation, and that's all I can hear when I'm watching these is they overlap so much when they're improvising. It's annoying. You can't listen to both at the same time, and it loses its humor when they do that, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely get that.
Spencer, what have you consumed this week?
I read a book that was recommended to me by one of the employees at Jetpack, Little Bird, The Flight for Elder's Hope.
Oh.
It is a 5-issue miniseries published in 2020 under Image Comics, written by Darcy Van Pelgeest and illustrated by Ian Bertram. Basically, think the Catholic Church takes over the world, and then we have the apocalypse. It's basically that. It's great. So
So
you
in a
have
couple years.
yeah. So it is. It's a very political book. The art I thought was very interesting. The color choices. It's pretty freaking vibrant. It's pretty vibrant, but it's also kind of gross. It is very deformed, somewhat caricatures. There's a lot of blood and guts in this thing. It's not
Nice.
gruesome, but it makes me squeamish, which is usually kind of hard to do.
So it's like how they're presenting what's going on rather than what's like how much guts are in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the art, the only that hurt. That's my
Oh,
foot.
poor baby.
Shut the up, you bitch.
Spencer just nut punched himself with his phone.
Oh, poor baby. Did you get on your footsie? Do you want to put your big toe up my
Shut the-
butthole?
Okay, Cartman. It's not entirely accurate, but a decent description of the art is in a similar, like, artistic style to what Richard Corbin did, but a lot better.
Okay.
And again, not to speak ill of the deceased, but it has a similar type of caricaturish, really soft edges, malformed grossness. But I really did like the art. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming with the amount of like intestines and vines and stuff going on. It can be a bit much. The setting is really, really good, but it's insanely overwhelming for a 5-issue miniseries. It's a lot to take in. The exposition itself, like the dialogue that gives you the information, I thought was done really well. But most of the characters are a bit on the boring end, so you don't get super emotionally invested. I did like the theming and like the symbolism involved, so I enjoyed it a good bit. There is a prequel comic coming out about like the original conflict, which I'm looking forward to reading. I think that's coming out this year. I would recommend it to both of you. I think you guys would both find something to enjoy in it, but it is a bit messy.
I was going to say, so I would be interested in it for the gore and horror, but I would hate it for the politicalness of it, it sounds like.
Yes, you would enjoy. I think you would enjoy at least what the art's trying to do. You'd like the conflict and the blood and guts, and then Colin would probably like the symbolic, theological, and political stuffage.
Atmosphere.
I don't know how you'd feel about the art, in all honesty. That it's always a 50-50 shot with you.
Oh, yeah.
You're so picky.
Yes, sir.
So, moving on from me now.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Oh, it's been rough. I've been playing a lot of COD, but there's not much to talk about in that.
Which one?
Modern Warfare multiplayer.
The best one.
Yeah, pretty much. There is a video game that I started with Abby, and it's Stardew Valley. It's
nice.
It's like
That's definitely up your alley. Like
is.
so much. That game was made for you.
It was made for you.
I don't know much about it at all. I just know
so
that
good.
like a couple people I watch on YouTube played it, and like a lot of couples play it together, and Abby loves it.
It's really
so
good.
I want to play more video games with her and spend more time with her. So
Nice.
I'm trying to get into Stardew Valley, and it's kind of fun. It's really cute. We started up a world, and we started clearing out some areas and such, but I didn't have much time to get on it. But I'm gonna try to give it like a full chance. I've been taking a break from Animal Crossing, and so
Nice.
just gonna get on to Stardew Valley.
Oh,
I'll keep you guys updated.
Nice.
Well, speaking of video games,
Yes.
brought up by the typically non-gamer, I started a little known game made by Obsidian Entertainment, The Outer Worlds, which came out
Ooh.
in 2019, which I just realized wasn't last year. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's on my list of things I am very much so looking forward to playing. So please tell me about it.
I thought it came out the same year as Fallout 76, but apparently it came out a year after it. So there go all of my examples of like the Summer of Bond and the same scenario where we had two Quicksilvers on the movie screens at the same time. Like all those examples are gone because Fallout 76 came out a year before this one. But I would say this easily beat Bethesda at their own game.
I mean, it's not hard to beat freaking Fallout 76. That's like one of the worst games of all time.
Right. Granted, but I think this beats the other Fallout games that I've tried my hand at as well.
Ooh.
And somebody at work challenged me on that one, and I think they were going to go home and download it because I praised it so highly. So I might do that next week. But I highly enjoyed the 2-ish hours I spent with it this week when I wasn't editing the podcast or reading stuff for the podcast. This is definitely the best Fallout game I've ever played, but I haven't played too many of those, and certainly not for long. I think it's because of the setting and world building, but I'll get to that in a second. It's not just Fallout. It's not a post-apocalyptic wasteland. It's more of a sci-fi game. There's spaceships and planets to drive to, and
so it's No Man's Sky, but actually has content.
Not really. It's more the flying mechanics from Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
Like that.
So it's like planet hopping.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
At least as far as I've seen.
It's like Destiny.
Ew.
Please don't bring up my ex in front of me.
That is his ex. I managed to get him out of that toxic relationship, and
it wasn't just you.
I will take all credit for this.
No, you won't.
I tried playing that again, and I got bored so fast.
Good. Leave her in shambles.
I still love her body, but I cannot go back to that whore. Anyway.
That's a good way to put it.
Most importantly, The Outer Worlds felt like my first and true love, Firefly.
Oh my goodness.
Because it kind of has that space western vibe. It's not as cheese or whatever. It's not closely related, but it kind of feels like you're a bounty hunter in the skies of a sci-fi world.
Gotta love that feeling.
You what?
Gotta love that feeling.
Because the setting was interesting, the NPCs and quests finally had me hooked. It didn't just feel like, oh, that guy probably has a quest for me. Skip through all the dialogue. Yeah, I'll go get your shit for you. It was... There really wasn't anything different about this, but I was just finally interested and invested because I was enjoying the rest of the game up to that point.
Nice.
The opening planet or town or whatever has a moral choice before the game opens up and lets you do whatever the frick you want. And that had me really antsy and concerned about which way I was going to go with it. And all of that happened an hour in to the game. So I'm very excited to go back to it. And hopefully I have more time this week and we don't run long like we did last week.
Elongated muskrat. Nice. So I finally got to properly reading DC Universe Rebirth, which is a 64-page one-shot. This was the tonal shift from the New 52 into the Rebirth era. So as implied by being a 64-page book, it has one writer, being Jeff Johns, who I do think did a very good job of writing it. There were 4 different chapters inside of it. We have chapter 1, Lost, which was illustrated by Gary Frank and Ethan Van Sciver. Chapter 2 is Legacy, illustrated by Gary Frank. Chapter 3 is Love, penciled by Ivan Reese. Chapter 4 is Life, illustrated by Phil Jimenez and Gary Frank. And then there's the epilogue, which is by the same. So basically, this is an in-universe reason for why the New 52 was a bit mildly edgelord, and removed characters' histories from their memories while not being like a hard reset, but kind of a hard reset, as well as why they're shifting into a more hopeful, optimistic area when going into the Rebirth era. So I really liked all of the art. I've ranted about Gary Frank before, so I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. The redesigns for all of the characters I thought were really nice. They included in the deluxe edition of this book in the back are the original New 52 design, and then the new redesign of the main characters by the artist doing the actual like main run.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Greg Capullo's Batman, and then you have Greg Capullo's new version of Batman for the next artist to work with. And I thought that was a really nice touch in the back of the book. It wasn't integral or anything. I really do like all of the redesigns. They're very nice. It's very sleek. It does take out a lot of the not great elements of the New 52, some of the more techie stuff. There isn't much plot, to be honest. Stuff happens, but it's not a very plot heavy book. It is a emotional and kind of philosophical turning point without a whole lot of plot. This does set up Doomsday Clock, and I do think it actually sets up Doomsday Clock pretty well. It's more so disappointing that Doomsday Clock took another 4 freaking years to finally be done. So it really, really makes it clear how messy DC's been lately. But it was a good prelude to the Rebirth era. And then because it goes over a lot of the characters that were kind of just wiped from existence for the New 52, like the JSA, various other like Golden Age heroes, I think they handled that really well. I wouldn't say I got really emotional, but like I got pretty attached to characters I have honestly never read before. I had heard of some of them, but I hadn't read them, as well as reintroducing the Kid Flash kind of sort of ish. As I think basically everybody knows, DC's had a weird relationship with Wally West over the past 60 years. So reintroducing him into main continuity kind of sort of in this book, like he is partially the catalyst for what happens. I do think that was really good. It's a pretty breezy read, but I'm probably not going to go back to it unless I'm reading like the earlier Rebirth books, or if I'm going to read Doomsday Clock again. I think it is a good prelude to that.
You just said Doomsday Clock so many times, I was keeping count.
Doomsday Cock.
And I was waiting for that.
Anyways, I enjoyed it. I do not like the fact that it's like, we're going to make an in-universe reason for why we're having a tonal shift. Like, just have your writers, as an editor, have your writers go in that direction. That's not a hard thing to do.
You don't need to explain yourself.
I do understand why they wanted to do it, to reintroduce a lot of characters that they had just wiped from existence for little to no reason. And, you know, some people's favorites and other characters they had kind of done dirty. So that I do definitely get the idea for why the book exists. It's just those two ideas kind of conflict a little bit, whereas like, you don't really need this, but I get it. Anyways, enjoyable read.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't exactly recommend it, but if you're interested already, it's good.
Yeah, probably not going to read
It's not like it's going to hook anybody, but if, you know, one of your favorite characters was one of those poor folks that just got wiped from existence, you might get emotional over it. If you're like, you know, 40, 50 and you grew up with, I don't know, particularly if you grew up with like Wally West, getting Wally West back in continuity is kind of neat.
Yeah, we like Wally West.
Speed.
I believe that is the end of the episode. Thank you for listening. We especially thank our Patreons. Yes, you heard that right. That is plural now. We have Business Casual, as usual, as our patron saint. And this week, added to the crew, we have somebody new, and I didn't get a name on that. Cookie.
Jeff Lorenz. Colin actually knows who he is.
My good buddy from grade school. He's a pretty good artist.
Yeah.
Good buddy Jeff Lorenz. Thank you for becoming a patron along with Business Casual. We appreciate both of your support, and we would appreciate more if anybody in the audience can afford it. If not, we understand. We too are broke AF. But if you are interested in throwing us a little bit of money and appreciation and love, you can find us at patreon.com/dimecomicbros podcast, possibly at the end of that. I don't remember.
Just Dime Comic Bros. Yep.
Then I'll cut that.
So you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as send us an email at dimecomicbros@gmail.com. As usual, memes, shitposting, complaints, compliments if there is anything positive.
Whoa.
Just send us
Don't ask
anything.
for too much, okay? I just ask for money. Don't ask for compliments, okay?
Yeah, that's fair. Money before compliments, please, and thank you. Yeah. So if anybody's actually listened all the way through, comment below this episode on whatever platform you're listening, and let us know your favorite scene in Batman v Superman. Because
Mine's the ass scene.
you need help.
You
Good
think?
sir.
Wow.
It's not even Lois Lane in the bathtub. It's
I don't
Batman's
care.
ass.
Yeah, I don't care about her.
Dick.
That's Spencer's crush.
Hey, I will jump over this microphone and start choking you.
That's
my crush.
Bathtub, big boy.
Oh boy.
We can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but can we be found on Pinterest?
We are not on Pinterest.
Oh my gosh.
We're
What
not
have we
on
been
Google
doing?
Plus anymore either, because Google Plus doesn't exist.
Yeah,
What?
that's lame.
It doesn't
Nobody-
exist anymore?
Nobody
Yeah,
wants
they
to be
closed
on
it down a
Google
couple of
Plus.
years ago. Hasn't been a thing for a while.
Yeah.
What?
I actually remember using that, like unironically.
It sucked.
It was not great.
Yeah.
Lots of polls. Anyways, yes. So next week we are going to be discussing Batman Dark Victory, the sequel miniseries to Batman The Long Halloween, which we discussed last week. And as we will now be doing moving forward, as I said last week, we also have to give a big shout out to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games. You can find them in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire, if any of our listeners are local. I've
You
been
can
shopping there
also-
forever.
You can also find them at their website at whatever that is, jetpackcomics.com, I would assume.
I'm pretty confident it's jetpackcomics.com
You can find them on Facebook, Instagram,
and Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah, everywhere. They also got some swanky new like branded bags. They're really bloody nice. They're
Yeah.
bright
I
red with
was
that nice black emblem. Oh, it's so good.
I was walking in to Jetpack the other day, and I saw Rich was making a video for Facebook, just showing things. It's just I've always seen this on Facebook. It was funny actually walking in on him doing it, and then not doing it, but doing the video, recording a video. Sorry, Rich. But I came in and I was about to check out, and he was just so excited about the new bags. He's like, "Yeah, did you see we got these new bags?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, they're great."
The energy that man gives off.
Yeah, I
is
know.
insane.
Wait.
I need that.
So Jetpack Comics can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Can you find them on Pinterest?
I doubt it.
What's this?
Man.
What's up with Pinterest and you?
I don't know. I'm trying to have a running joke, okay?
Oh my god.
You
brought
are
up-
the running joke.
I brought up freaking Flickr a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, dude. Flickr's still.
Should we bring
Okay.
up Shutterfly next week?
You only go
what
on
about
Flickr.
Tumblr?
You only go on Flickr if you're looking for really good Lego mocks. Okay.
That's fair.
Does Tumblr still exist? I'm honestly asking.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Hello.
Okay, try it now.
Hello?
He can hear you, I think.
All right,
Can
cool.
you hear him? Okay, nice.
All right, are you two losers happy with that picture?
It's a picture. It's good enough for me. I don't care.
Yeah, I think we should.
Well, Colin complained about it last time, so
Colin
I complain about everything.
You
Yeah, it's a good
literally do.
picture. I just have a complaint about everything.
You
That's just how it
literally
works.
do. I mean, I do as well, but you know, if I can bitch about you doing it, then I can deflect attention away from me doing it.
Yeah, you're really good at deflecting. You like to deflect a lot.
I do
Yep. I call you out for it all the time.
a little bit.
I'll
but
call you out anytime. I'll call you on a date. You want to go on a date later?
yes.
But I was also like just gonna play along with it because I had no other response but to play along with it.
He had no response, but
But
Not bad.
Spencer's hairy butt.
Spencer does drop the thick but as he's talking. It's so
I do
hard not to
But
mess with
I
it
do.
in editing.
that's fair. Last week and the rearranging of the topics to
Mhm.
make a better conversation, and I
Yep.
do think it went better, but it did go longer. Did we
Yep.
want to do anything about that? Or
I
just
zoned out entirely. I was looking at your shirt the whole time. I was like,
stop
that's really
staring at my
nice.
tits?
I can't help it. Sorry, what were you saying?
I'm completely with Colin on that one. That shirt is so laden with Easter eggs and hints. It's like, what does it all mean?
I just can't stop thinking about certain things.
Okay.
Right.
Up here.
Okay.
My eyes are up here. Eyes, mouth. Pay attention.
Nice.
We were just... Jacob, roll the opening joke.
Roll it.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Dime Bron. Oh man!
You should have
Welcome back to the Dime Comic Bros podcast.
You should have tried doing it in anime. It would have worked better.
You're speaking very softly.
I can speak softly if you want me to.
No, I need you to speak louder.
Yes, it is. What is? I gotta come up with some questions.
All right.
but-
Well, I will let you come up with the questions.
favorite.
come on.
Fine, go.
Also, I was laughing at you saying Google Plus had a lot of polls.
You caught that.